People need to wake up, you know. Their food doesn't come from a supermarket. It all starts right here. That's where their food starts from, you know. And if they keep on this, you know, red tape thrown at us, we're not allowed to keep, you know, doing what we need to do. You know, where's your food going to come from? People need to wake up.
We're sitting in the middle of essentially 160 acres of irrigated alfalfa, a quarter of irrigated alfalfa here. This will be directly marketed to Fraser Valley, predominantly dairies that supply milk to BC. So if you enjoy eating a nice bit of Dairyland yogurt with your breakfast in Victoria, there's a pretty darn good chance that some of this alfalfa right here has produced that milk. You know, for the provincial government to limit and then just pull our water use here, you know, if we hadn't watered this last week to keep the bloom off it and finish it, we would have lost over 20% of this growth. I could get into the factors of how many pounds of milk, of butterfat we would have lost here, you know, in one producer, but there's darn sure 2.5 tons of dry matter per acre standing here if it's going to get processed. So I guess what really concerns us is the food security fact, part of this puzzle right now. Some years the price is very good, some years the price is at break even. This year the price is fair and good, but there's a hell of a shortage. So instead of burning fuel and talking about environmental sustainability and all the buzzwords that go around in the big picture of the big media, there's nothing more environmentally sustainable than a 3-hour truck ride for this alfalfa that meets all the parameters to go to a lower mainland dairy. That is the shortest fuel burnt truck ride possible to get to, because they cannot grow alfalfa in the lower mainland. So it's essential to production of milk. But to allude to conspiracy, I think there's political motivation behind it. I'm very positive there is. Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
They're on private property, or is that an easement?
I'm not sure. I don't know that land.
I guess because the gate was open.
Hi there, how you doing?
Good, how about yourself?
Good. We're just seeing what you're up to today.
We're just out doing checks on irrigation.
Okay. I'm not sure if this is private land or not. Are you allowed to be on this chunk of land?
Yes, we are. Have a good day.
I'm Clay Abel. My wife and I own Abel Hay Sales in Westwold. We're standing at my main yard. We farm about 750 acres in the valley. We've been here for over 30 years doing the hay thing. I grew up on a large ranch in the valley. I've been here all my life. We got letters through the summer where we were to cut back 50%, or 30% was the first one, then it was 50%. And we all complied to that. It was a voluntary cutback. And then all of a sudden they just come with their notices saying, that's it, no more water, you can't water anymore. Well, we had just taken our second cut off and we need that water. Especially as soon as we take a crop of hay off, the water has to go on to get the regrowth coming. They gave us no notice whatsoever for that. They could have said 2 weeks, you're gonna have to shut your water off. It would have gave us time to keep on going. And then, so a lot of us went ahead and we watered anyway, because this is our living. Like, you know, we could lose way over $100,000 by not getting that water on and getting a crop of hay. So it's really for us, it's that last crop of hay that makes the difference. The other two go to pay bills, basically. So the government comes along, they shut our water off, and then in the next couple of weeks, they're going to be beating their chest down in Victoria and saying, look what we did. You know, we saved the salmon. We shut off all those big bad farmers in Westwold, and the rivers jumped 4 inches. But little do people know that Mother Nature does what Mother Nature does. We're gonna get some rain, we're getting cooler nights. That river always jumps 4 inches this time of year. The salmon are gonna come up the river as soon as it comes up. They're not stupid. They'll sit in Shuswap Lake until the water levels are cool enough and high enough that they can come up and spawn. And it's been happening since the beginning of time, but all of a sudden now, we asked for a meeting, they wouldn't show up. There's no science in there. Like, we asked for the science behind their decisions to shut us down. They didn't even show up at the meeting to give us that science. I don't believe that there is any. I think that people in the lower Shuswap, namely probably the native bands, are saying, hey, the Chinook population's going down. We got to do something about it, and this is the government's way of doing something about it. You know, they're always on it about protecting the food chain. We got to have food security. We got to protect the food chain. This is the beginning of the food chain, right here where you're standing. We produce the feed that dairy cow eats, that produces that jug of milk that you go on a Friday afternoon to pick up after work. The cheese that you put on your hamburger, on your barbecue on Saturday afternoon. We produce the feed for the cattle that produce that hamburger. It all starts right here.
My family's been farming this piece of ground for 148 years. We were one of the original founders of the valley that homesteaded it. Yeah, I'm 5th generation. My kids are 6. This particular piece right here, we used to have a diversion on the Salmon River, and we took one crop off of it. And, you know, we invested, at the time, I think we invested close to $100,000 into this system right here. And, you know, it made my whole place efficient. I used probably, a tenth of the water to produce the crops that we do. Even now, like, I mean, I have a allotted amount of water that I'm allowed to use, and I guarantee that I'm not using 50% of it on a good year. You know, I haven't used my allotted water already. You know, it hasn't been used. You know, just because of the efficiency of the equipment we've invested in. I think my message is that the government has let us down. You know, they've pushed us into registering all our wells, transferring our water so that we can, you know, in a year where we do have a drought, that they guaranteed us that we'd be still allowed to pump water. You know, I've got water records back to 1863, and they said, you know, they promised that in the event of a year where there's a drought, you wouldn't have to turn your water off. You know, and we didn't even get a chance. They gave no chance, not even a 50%, nothing. It was knock on the door, shut your water off. You know, and it was asked backwards. So they need to get number one, they need to get their facts straight, their science. If they got science, then show us. You know, we asked for a meeting, nobody showed up. We wanted answers. We wanted to show us your data. They won't even show a face. They won't answer phone calls, nothing.
So again, what sort of precedent do you think this sets for the future of food scarcity, basically?
I think it's huge, you know. Like if we're not able to produce forage for our cattle, you know, we're this forage here, that's what I depend on to feed my cattle, and my cattle feed it's a direct link to the food chain. We're not doing it for fun, you know. This is our livelihood. We've chose to do it, but that being said, we're supplying the food chain, you know. And if we're not able to feed our cattle, grow enough forage for our cattle, you know, people are going to start starving. If we drop the ball now on this and let us, you know, if we don't keep watering, you know, we'll pay our fines. But if we don't keep watering, then next year it's going to be, you know, we're into August here right now. It'll be May, June when they're going to start shutting us down. You know, we're useless. Without water, I mean, you can see what water does. You know, without it, you don't grow nothing without the water.
One thing I believe is it doesn't matter what your farm or what part of the agricultural sector you're from. I think everyone should be treated the same, because food is food. It doesn't matter if it's vegetables or you're growing forage for livestock. At the end of the day, it all goes on someone's table to eat. And that's the most important thing, is supporting our BC farmers and the BC farmers and families that are producing all this food for us.
Yeah.
The government should be doing a lot more studies on these areas. There's no completed studies on any of the areas out here. They should, if they want to shut down or reduce our waters, they should have completed studies of our areas and real detailed reports of actual what's happening to our aquifer and everything. Someone with a 200-foot well definitely isn't, you know, if they're pumping water from 200 feet down, they're definitely not affecting the flow of the river at all. So I think, the government should really step up, and if they want to enforce these rules on us, they should really have scientific facts behind everything, instead of someone just writing on paper saying that we don't have water, we have to shut everything off. Where I've been told by many people that have been here for many, many years that our water isn't even that bad yet. We've had way lower years before, and they've never been shut down. And then this year is I've been told about an average year, and everyone's getting shut off. So
This field here is watered off of that deep water well out of the aquifer, and that's pumping it. That pump set is 205 feet. There's the government test well that is monitoring at 60 feet. So there's no correlation between aquifer measurements here. Okay, so behind me here, this system is running a technology actually out of Europe, and it mimics a precise raindrop, which nature's still the best. A raindrop is still the most effective way to irrigate anything. And these systems we've invested in, the last 5 machines we've put up have had this technology, and we've implemented on one older machine. And it's our test year on this essentially, but we're seeing really positive results on wind loss. We're getting virtually none with this system. So it's really exciting technology. Might be boring to some, but it's exciting to guys that want to stretch their water out and grow more feed. So
The way we water now is probably over 70% more efficient than the way it used to be done. We save water now because we can't afford to waste it. It's too expensive. We have to pay for power. Pumping costs are huge. So every drop has to count for us. We don't have money to throw away by being not efficient.
Okay, you just start with your first and last name and tell us where we're standing right now.
Well, I'm John Benedict, a rancher in Westwold, British Columbia, and we're standing in my farmyard. I was working on my tractor until you came. A critical resource you don't waste. You know, there's some people that's got new seedings. If they don't get a reasonable amount of water, the new seeding dies, and they've lost a huge investment in seeds and fertilizer. There's if you know what the score is, you can plant crops that need less water, especially like grain. You know, it needs a sprinkler too in the spring, but you don't need water this time of year. There's things you can do to cope with low water, but it has to be organized and planned and ahead of time. You just can't come out and tell everybody to shut off your water. That's making a bad situation a heck of a lot worse.
there's a lot of people who think that that this is essentially a direct attack on farmers that's going to set a precedent for the future, that's going to escalate further and further.
Well, it certainly will, because if this is allowed to stand, then there's no, your water rights don't mean anything. You can't plan, you can't count. Your investment in equipment is all, takes a big hit. It's just, I can't imagine a worse way of handling a shortage than the way they're going about it.
If you had 1 million people in front of you and you wanted to educate them on what's happening with the farmers and try to make them realize the importance of what's going on, what would you say to them?
Well, I would say to them, if they want reasonably priced food, they can't complain about the price of food going up in the stores when the government is, they might not be deliberately waging war on us, but their policies are making it very, very difficult for us, and most of these policies aren't based in fact. They're, I don't know where they get them from, but there's very little scientific evidence, but it's going to have a dire consequences to the food production.
Hello.
Hey, Sam Isaac, resource officer, just is leaving right now. He said he has your cell number.
Okay,
we'll
there
call
he
you.
is. I see him. We'll just go and visit Sam right now.
Okay, it's a girl and a guy.
Perfect.
His name is Sam Isaac. Yep.
Yep. Good morning. How are you today?
I'm well, how are you?
Oh, you know, sun's shining again, smoke's leaving, so life's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking to talk to you about the irrigation that's occurring and the drought here on the Sound.
Which licenses and titles and names they're in specifically? Do you got some notes?
I do have some notes, and I can go back and get them. Yeah, so we were looking at several properties that we've seen some irrigation on.
Someone from the water office was supposed to be at an emergency users group meeting on Friday and did not come.
Okay.
James Telford was supposed to be at the meeting.
Okay, and which day was this?
This was Friday, and he was on the list of this meeting, and then at the last, August 18th, and he did not appear, and his excuse was he was not prepared to answer our questions, because we have a lot of questions due to aquifer. We understand river pumping. We are not pumping out of any rivers. We are pumping currently out of the Monty Lake Canal, which is exempt. I don't know if you've done your research there.
Yeah, we know that there are some systems here in the valley.
Yes, and they're very particular. They're very particular, Sam.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Can you speak to aquifers?
I can speak with James. I'm not a hydrologist. I don't do aquifers. That's not my
scope. We're aquifer people. We know a bit about it, and we know where the test wells are, and we do compile the data.
Yeah.
We're saying we were disrespected last Friday, so why should we show the Crown and we've shown them way more respect already by tapering down to 10%. Okay, so why should we show the Crown another pebble worth of respect if they cannot answer our questions and come forth?
So there's an email on the order that it says for questions, reach out to this email. And
the group has reached out to no avail at this point. We have not been replied to from a letter that has went to the Minister of Forest, the Deputy Minister of Forest, all levels, from the top down. We have not gotten a reply to a letter that was for sure received by Monday morning. I think it was generated on the weekend, but we have a letter to the Minister of Forest down, and I think the CC copy on that will be in the 30s and 40s. Okay? So zero reply. So if there is that level of disrespect, why would I show you that pebble of respect, Sam?
I want to find you the information. I want you to have
How about the Minister of Forest starts getting that information? I mean, I think your time here, you guys look like these fires and everything else, we've lived fires, and that's what's bringing this on. I mean, it's just crazy, the politics involved in the optics of you being here today in our yard on our deeded land. So this would go forward before our lawyers with an opinion before we would shut down, Sam, because we have an opinion on this already, Sam. That's why I'm not just saying, sorry, Sam, I'm shutting down. We are not shutting down today.
So I understand that.
Okay.
So there's a couple things from this conversation I've heard. You want answers. You want to talk to who's making the decisions.
Yes.
So I will go back and I will ask for I will make that request on your behalf.
Okay. No, I appreciate
and you've
that,
heard
man.
my request that you shut down.
Yep, and it'll be
according to
noted.
the order,
It'll
and
be
you're saying
noted.
you won't. I can tell you right now, Eric, we're going to continue inspections.
Yes, yeah.
Under our legal
Yeah.
authority, the Water Sustainability Act.
So can you go
in
through
the
a
valley.
lock gate, Sam?
What's that?
Can you go through a lock gate, Sam?
A locked gate?
Yeah.
We have authority to enter onto private land to inspect for compliance with this order,
Okay.
and that's what we're doing, and we will continue to do
Okay.
that. I can tell you right
Okay.
now, I'm not going to send you an email telling you we're doing it, because I'm telling you we're doing it right now. There's
Okay.
our guys in the trucks right now, that's
Yeah.
what they're doing. They're
Yeah.
going on to properties, yours or other people's,
Yeah, yeah.
under our legal inspection authorities
Okay.
to do so.
Okay, and that's your right, obviously, in the way this socialist society works, this rat society. I mean, the ethical people are getting punished here, and the unethical people are scurrying through the cracks, and that's so bad.
This is not something we
Okay.
want to be doing. We don't want to be shutting the water off for you guys. This is not something we want to do.
Yeah, well
It's the
then,
last resort.
then get your bosses in front of us.
All this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to. For people like me, people like you, wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. Living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, 'cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men, north of Richmond. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.